fathom the shift beyond the personality illusion, because this illusion is highly convincing. It looks quite real to us. So even though we may say conceptually or intellectually, I know I'm multidimensional, it's very hard still to yet experience your multidimensionally, that you are multidimensional when you're in a structure that supports enslavement and the third dimension. So we are constantly, we have one toe in 3D, we're trying to like expend the least amount of energy in that structure as we can, and then we come home and we're like multi-dimensional. So it's very challenging for us because we're in that transitional phase. You like that? I know. So, you know, because we're here to build the new systems. So sometimes when you go into 3D and you're interacting and no one is perceiving or experiencing a similar reality as you, you start to go into self-doubt. And this is poison for you. I must say that this is one thing, the two important things to really be clear about: eradicate your fear, eradicate your self-doubt, come back into center, know that you are energetically connected and sustained, and build the discipline of your body to follow the guidance of your higher intuition, your God source. It's really simple, but applying it as we know is not, because the structure doesn't support this. So we are, in a sense, fighting to stay awake when everyone is asleep. And hence why we need our community, we need our language, we need to know of each other so that we can dip into the language and go, okay, I got it. And then I can go back in. Because literally if you're exhausted by the system, you need to pull yourself out of there and come back into nourishing, get back in your connection. Know that we're all going through this. We're on the verge right now. We are being taken to our absolute limits. So be gentle with yourself and understanding if you need to extract yourself from that reality, from that structure, from that person or circumstance, do it until you can maintain absolute center with whatever that interaction is. Attempt. It's not always workable, but sometimes we will push ourselves to do things when it's really not good, because it'll just weaken you and make you feel energetically drained, because again, we're in between two worlds right now. Understand we're all having difficulties navigating between those two worlds, and it's a learn as you go process, but just coming back to the core of really knowing what the truth is, not allowing any mental parasites or emotional parasites to get in there that undermine who you know you are and what your truth is. Hold that truth like you hold your life, and you will find that again, your hologram will be easier, your experience will be easier, because as you are able to hold this, the bombs will be going off, but you will be experiencing smoothness and gliding through this chaos in a way that will probably really surprise you. So that's really the key for us at this time. So again, back to the multidimensionality, to understand that from the guardian perspective, star-seeded beings and indigo beings have come here primarily to ascend this planet. A lot of it, of course, yes, we're here to experience density and physical matter, but really the group spiritual project, if we take, say, the group spiritual project and then it drills down into each unique individual expression, our group, that group of consciousness, is here to be the ascension vanguard, the ascension shift into this new paradigm. So we are the ones going through this process first. Now, as a multidimensional being, depending on your lineage or particular origin, and again, this is a tricky thing to describe because all of us have come from the original one source, and yet in the human body we are here to express certain extraterrestrial genetics, certain stellar information, and that information is about integrating an amalgamation meaning just a humongous variation of genetic encodements from the universe, from the stellar bodies, from the extraterrestrial forms and source. The human body was originally designed to be a healer of the polarity of everything that existed within the universe. So the human form, if you will, was created to literally almost be like a rehabilitation of extraterrestrial genetics, and that's why there's so much ET genetics in us, and why we are so popular by those that observe and at times may even abduct starseed and indigo, which, by the way, starseed and indigo beings have more of a propensity to be observed by extraterrestrials. They have definitely more propensity to be viewed by the negative extraterrestrials. So this is, again, an experience that the star-seeded being and the indigo being has because of its contract with the Earth. So this is why sometimes it's challenging the planetary light workers that have been a part of the movement of the New Age in the last 20 years. If we look at the convergence through 1987, the harmonic convergence began. This was the beginning of fourth dimensional energy and other energies starting to come onto the planet. And those planetary beings started to get activated to be the emissaries of light and to start holding that consciousness. And really, overall, we can see that the mass subconscious of the human has been released of a lot of fear around things like, aliens or, maybe not aliens, but angels, paranormal, psychism. 20 years ago, this was still really woo-woo, and people were actually freaked out by it. There's some that still are, but we can see we've made a lot of progress, even if you look at media and programming. Doreen Virtue and, Sylvia Brown are the New York bestseller list, So we can see, okay, this was the baby step of bringing humanity into the next level of their spiritual awakening. And this cycle is now ending, and we are moving into another cycle. And this cycle is what I'm referring to as the galactic consciousness cycle. So many of us that have not felt connected to the New Age for reasons that we didn't understand is because that wasn't our role. We were attempting to find information that we resonated with, and we may have gone on a seeking tour, attempting to find information that felt in alignment to us. But most of the content of the New Age is really not our role, this families of consciousness role. It was the beginning. And so a lot of the times we felt maybe not fully aligned and were confused as to why we weren't aligned to the New Age information. Also, the New Age information, there is a tremendous amount of distortion in it because many of the concepts that we're talking about in understanding our multidimensionality and our energetic congruency and sustainability were not concepts or energetic realities that many light workers are using currently or in the last 20 years. And because of that lack of knowledge, from no one's fault, or, again, it's all been perfect in terms of bringing the information, but much of this information is distorted with dark and light both mixed in. So very much like religion, or things that have been used from sacred texts that were inspiring to the human being, things get infiltrated and again start reversing and creating other types of seeds of darkness. And again, most beings do not have developed discernment to understand the difference. So they become, again, moving from one addiction to another instead of empowering themselves. This is not about guru-disciple anymore. This is about your God, period. It's inside you. Let's start getting it activated. Let's work on the empowerment issue. But we do go through periods where we are accessing and looking for information. So once you understand you're an integrator, you're here to feel what you need in your resonance, to go pick up that piece of frequency, absorb it, and move on. There's no need to stay with any spiritual teacher, or unless you want to. But again, a lot of the New Age was very confusing. It's, again, that same division that is created and is the controller being's particular agenda with controlling humanity is divide and conquer. And that is, I have the truth. No, I have the truth. No, I have the truth. And again, we all have the truth. The issue is that we understand the collective genius is we are all God. The prism of God consciousness can express its truth when it's allowed to creatively express in that highest vibration. And again, that may look different to the being standing next to you. It is about having that unity and diversity and understanding we're a grand orchestra, all playing our note, attempting to take this discordant note into one harmonic one. And that is the God consciousness we are. We become harmonic, sustained, and we are now a part of the life force instead of the anti-life force. Now, the difference of anti-life and life force is understanding that most human beings, if you are in your third dimensional body and you think you are your physical form, what you are now doing, since you are not sustained into your spiritual source, you're looking to absorb energy from the external. And this may be money, relationships, possessions. I need to get there, I need to buy this. This is what we can see as well is being used in the addiction matrix to keep people distracted on the external. If I just had this, if I could just get that. This is all about energetic vampirism. This is about being a parasite on others. So when we understand everything is about energy and vibration, and everything is either feeding on something, as being parasitic or an emotional or energetic vampire, or is actually sustained in their own source. So you'll see this no matter what we're talking about in terms of whether it's people that are in the third dimensional working world, it can be light workers, people that are working with their consciousness. If they don't understand this basic understanding of this energetic congruency, they don't understand that they're still working with anti-life. They're still parasitizing energy from the external areas. And that is very difficult to expand your consciousness when you're doing so, because you're still now in the external world completely thinking it's real when it's not. The only thing that is real is our God source. So in connecting to that source, it's all in here. So becoming inner-directed and learning how to do that is actually very key, and is a part of this next movement of the consciousness cycle, is the accountability, the responsibility that it's all us. It's not about the guru, it's not about the information, it's all us. So in a sense, this view was a little bit unpopular in the last 20 years because the light movement was still very candy-coated. It was about, the rainbows and the butterflies and the ascension is beautiful, and it is. It is beautiful. But the issue with this is it's like a 12-step program. People get addicted to this, and now they're not willing to look at the shadow, and what you don't look at manipulates you. This is the issue. I am not a person that speaks about the controllers and the negativity and something that I want to incite fear in anyone. What the issue is we need an informed awareness to understand the agendas and what is going on in this hologram in order to effectively deal with them. If we choose to ignore them or not look at them because they're ugly, what happens is that energy is a part of you and will control you or manipulate you if you refuse to look at it. And this has been an issue in the New Age that is quite serious. So this is what I call the twilight mastery. We have that which is serving the light, that which is serving the dark, but it's coming from an unconscious level where people are not taking the accountability for their own being to actually come into the energetic integrity where they are not parasitizing or vampirizing something. They're now sustained in their own God source. Now, we will become more effective in our communities and in our groups and in our organizations if we understand this basic law of energy. And this is, again, for those of us that are moving into this new consciousness cycle and are a part of this movement, we will need to understand how to harmonize that space coming from us, because this is something that has not been conceptually understood or energetically understood by many of the beings that are attempting to build communities, attempting to build the organizations, because we can see a big movement of consciousness happening right now in the green movement and, again, the community movement, creating different ways of life. And so, again, what I'm feeling is that many of you as vanguards in this room will benefit by understanding this energetic congruency I'm talking about, because no system will sustain without it. We're talking about the ultimate sustainability. We need to move into sustainable environments. You know what? It starts with us first. If we don't do us first, the structure of the community is not going to congeal. It's going to constantly break down. And this is what we're seeing. You may have seen groups that are trying to come together, spiritual groups, community groups, and they just can't go less. Or it lasts for a month, and then all of a sudden it just kind of like wanders off. This is because, again, the energetic congruency, when you are a strong pillar in your own light, you then create the foundation of the house. Understand that all is an energetic container. All is contained in the source, and when you actually hold that space in your own congruency, and again, through your own example, you support others in their congruency, and you're able to see the discernment of when something is energetically draining, when it's vampirizing. And again, generally, whether that's your piece or not, to share this information, this is why I'm giving it, because I feel that